soft wind moves through the pines, carrying the scent of cold earth and old rain. Dawn breaks over the northern wilderness, a boundless expanse of frost, forest, and silence. In this world, power is not shouted, it's whispered. Survival belongs not to the strongest alone, but to the most adaptable, the most cunning, the most patient. This is the domain of two of North America's most elusive predators, the gray wolf and the cougar. They do not share peace. They share the same hunger, the same lands, the same need to survive. Their rivalry is as old as the mountains themselves. Across the vast wilderness of the American West, from the snowy peaks of Montana to the dense forests of Idaho, a hidden war unfolds each night. A war fought not for conquest or hatred, but for territory, prey, and the right to exist. Here, every howl is a declaration. Every silent step is a challenge. And between the whisper of paws and the echo of claws, nature writes its own law. Only the wild shall endure. In the chill of dawn, a shape moves through the mist, silent, fluid, and alert. Yellow eyes scan the horizon, ears catch the faintest crack of a branch. It is the gray wolf, the spirit of unity, the architect of the hunt. To the human eye, a wolf may seem only a creature of instinct, but in truth, it is a master strategist. The wolf is not defined by strength alone, but by coordination, communication, and an unbreakable social bond. Every member of the pack has a role. The alpha leads not by brute force, but by respect earned through wisdom and endurance. Together, they move as one, a single mind stretched across multiple bodies. When the hunt begins, the air itself seems to tense. Their target might be an elk, a moose, or sometimes a lone deer grazing by the river's edge. The chase is not chaos, it's choreography. The lead wolf drives the prey forward, while the flanks anticipate its escape routes. Then, at just the right moment, the pack closes in, swift, precise, lethal. For the wolf, teamwork is survival. A single wolf can starve in a harsh winter, but a pack can bring down a beast 10 times its size. Their communication, the howls, growls, body gestures, forms an invisible web that binds them in harmony. At night, their chorus echoes through the valleys. It is both a song of triumph and a warning to others. This land belongs to us. But in the distance, beyond the reach of their howls, another predator stirs. Silent, solitary, watching. A ghost among the rocks, the mountain lion, the cougar. Soon their paths will cross, and when they do, the wilderness will hold its breath. The mountains rise like sleeping giants beneath the fading light. Their faces are scarred by centuries of wind and rain, and deep within their valleys, shadows move like whispers of an ancient secret. Among those shadows walks the cougar, also called the mountain lion, the ghost cat, the silent hunter. No cry announces its presence, no paw step betrays its weight. It is both the spirit and silence of the American wilderness. Where the wolf relies on the strength of the pack, the cougar depends on isolation, a mastery of solitude that borders on art. Every movement is calculated, every breath controlled. It hunts not through teamwork, but through patience and precision. The cougar's world is vertical, cliffs, ledges, canyons, and boulders. It climbs where wolves cannot follow. It sees from above and waits for the perfect moment when the forest floor forgets it exists. In the stillness before dusk, it crouches, muscles coiled like springs, eyes fixed on the trembling of leaves where a mule deer grazes unaware. One heartbeat. 2. Then a blur. A leap so powerful it covers 20 feet in a single bound. A flash of claws, a crushing bite at the neck, and silence returns. This is the cougar's symphony. One strike, one kill, no witnesses. It eats alone, defends alone, and dies alone. Its kingdom is as wide as the mountains themselves, sometimes stretching 100 miles from ridge to ridge, each territory marked with the faintest trace of scent or claw, a silent warning to any intruder. But now the world of the cougar is shrinking. The forests grow quieter as roads cut through the wild, and wolves, reborn across the American West, have begun to move back into lands they once lost. Their territories overlap, their hunts intersect. The cougar, who trusts only its silence, and the wolf, who rules through unity, now share the same battleground.
One night, under a sky dripping with starlight, their paths cross. A wolf pack, hungry and restless, moves through the canyon. The cougar watches from above, its golden eyes flickering like fire in the dark. The wild is vast, but hunger narrows the world. Soon it will bring them face to face, a meeting written in instinct, not in choice. The wilderness is never still. Even in silence it is alive, a world of invisible boundaries, invisible rules, and invisible wars. Every creature has its claim, a patch of earth where it feeds, breeds, and survives. For the wolf and the cougar, these claims are more than land. They are lifelines. And now those lines are beginning to blur.
In the high canyons of western Montana, winter comes early. Snow crawls down from the peaks, coating the pines and rivers in a cold silver light. The elk herds, driven by hunger, move lower into the valleys, the same valleys that both wolf and cougar now call home. At first, they avoid each other. The wolf pack hunts as a unit, testing the edges of the forest. The cougar stalks from above, choosing silence over confrontation. But food is scarce, and hunger is a dangerous force. It makes even the wild forget its fear. One night, the air is sharp, and moonlight cuts through the trees like shards of ice. The wolves are restless, pacing near the riverbank. Their stomachs ache with emptiness. They pick up the scent of blood, fresh, warm, close. A kill. They follow it through the snow, their paws leaving ghostly tracks behind. And then they find it. A half-eaten deer dragged under the shelter of a fallen pine. But the kill is not theirs. Above them, crouched on the trunk, a cougar watches, tail twitching, muscles coiled, golden eyes burning in the dark. The wolves snarl, circling the carcass. The cougar growls low and deep, a sound that vibrates through the ground. For a long moment, no one moves. The forest holds its breath. The wolf pack spreads out, flanking from both sides. They are many, 5 strong, led by a scarred alpha whose patience has run thin. The cougar is one, but one is sometimes enough. With a sudden hiss, the cat leaps down. Snow explodes in every direction. The alpha lunges forward, snapping his jaws. The cougar lands, swipes, and the air itself seems to crack under the force of its claws. The wolves retreat a few steps, regrouping, cautious, calculating. The cougar hunches over the kill, tail flicking, ears flattened. Every muscle in its body screams defiance. But the wolves are not finished. They fan out wider this time, encircling the tree. Each growl is a warning. Each howl is a command. They know they can outlast her. The cat knows it too. For all its power, the cougar's greatest weapon, stealth, is useless here. The pack has found her, and in the open snow, she cannot hide. Minutes feel like hours as snow drifts down, soft and cold. Finally, the cougar makes her choice. With one last snarl, she abandons the carcass and vanishes into the trees, a ghost swallowed by the dark. The wolves claim the kill, tearing into the remains with hungry triumph. Their howls rise into the night sky, echoing across the valley. A victory song, but also a declaration. This land is ours. Yet far above them, on a rocky ledge, the cougar watches. Her breath steams in the cold. Her meal is gone, but her resolve hardens. The wolves have taken from her once. They will not do it again. Because in the wild, there are no permanent victories, only temporary reigns, shifting with the seasons and the shadows. And winter has only just begun. The snow no longer falls softly. It sweeps across the valley like smoke, driven by the wind that howls through the canyons. Winter has sunk its teeth into the land. The wolves move in formation, low and purposeful. Their coats are thick with frost. Their breath clouds the air like steam from an engine. They are hungry again, always hungry. The pack's survival depends on tonight's hunt. Miles away, the cougar descends from the ridge. Her muscles ripple beneath her tawny coat, her paws landing silent as shadows on the snow. Days have passed since her last full meal. Her ribs show faintly under the fur, hunger pressing as tightly as the cold. 2 predators, 2 worlds, both ruled by need, now drawn toward the same prize, a herd of elk clustered at the valley's edge. The elk move nervously, snorting clouds into the frozen air. They sense something, perhaps 2 somethings, in the dark. The wolves arrive first. They fan out, circling, testing. Their leader signals with a single flick of his tail. The youngest members dart forward, driving the elk into motion. The snow explodes beneath hooves and paws. High above, the cougar watches. Her ears twist forward, her eyes narrow, golden fire locked on a young elk that breaks from the herd, sprinting up toward the tree line. This is her chance. She moves, a silent streak of muscle and instinct, flowing down the slope like liquid shadow. Each leap is measured, every movement deadly calm. Below, the wolves notice too late. The elk's panic splits the pack's rhythm. Two wolves chase right, the alpha charges left, and into the cougar's path. For a heartbeat, predator meets predator. The world narrows to two sets of eyes, one amber, one gold, both ancient, both unyielding. The cougar's tail lashes once, the wolf growls, low and steady. Neither moves. The snow swirls between them like white fire. Then, motion. The cougar lunges first, a flash of claws and fury. The alpha twists aside, jaws snapping. They collide in a blur of power, the sound of flesh, snow, and fury echoing through the trees. The pack reacts instantly, their howls slicing through the cold. They rush toward the fight, paws thundering. The cougar spins, slashing at the nearest wolf, a clean hit, drawing blood. The animal yelps, staggering back. But there are too many. The pack surrounds her, circling, snapping, pressing closer. She backs against a fallen log, muscles trembling, but eyes burning with defiance. She leaps, not away, but through. A strike so fast the wolves falter for a split second, confusion breaking their rhythm. She lands beyond them, vanishing into the blur of snow and trees. The wolves chase, howling, but the forest swallows her like smoke. Their calls fade into the distance, unanswered. When silence returns, only the wind remains, carrying the scent of blood, pine, and unfinished war. High in the darkness, the cougar perches on a rock, panting, her side streaked with crimson. The cut is deep, but she is alive. Below, the wolves regroup, their breath misting under the silver moon. The alpha stands still, ears pricked toward the ridge. He knows she's watching, and she knows he'll come again. Because in the frozen wild, survival isn't about victory, it's about who refuses to yield. The storm breaks at dawn. The air is still, sharp as glass, and the wilderness gleams under a silver veil of snow. The forest seems calm, but calm in the wild is never peace. It is only the silence before something begins. The cougar wakes first. Her breath rises in faint clouds as she surveys the valley below. The wound along her flank has begun to stiffen, a mark from her last encounter. But hunger dulls pain. She must hunt, or she will die. Below her, shadows move between the trees. The wolves. They too have been changed by that night. The pack bears new scars, but they've tasted her strength, and they remember the kill she took from them. To them, she is not just prey or rival.
She is a challenge, a shadow that refuses to yield. The alpha lowers his head to the snow, inhaling deeply. The scent is faint, but familiar. She's near. He gives a low growl, a signal that ripples through the pack like electricity. Every wolf stiffens, every heart quickens. The hunt has begun again. The chase. The cougar moves through the forest like a ghost, weaving between pines and boulders, each paw placed with care. She knows she's being followed. The wind carries their scent, musk, fur, determination. They are behind her, closer with every heartbeat. She stops, crouching low behind a fallen log. The forest is alive with sound, the crack of branches, the whisper of paws brushing snow. Her ears twitch, her tail flicks. Then, she vanishes. The wolves reach the clearing seconds later, but she's gone. Their eyes dart from tree to tree, searching, listening. The alpha lifts his head. Something's wrong. The silence feels heavy. Too heavy. Then, motion from above. The cougar drops from a low branch, landing squarely on one of the trailing wolves. A scream splits the cold. Claws sink deep, fangs flash. The wolf writhes, but the attack is precise, lethal. Before the pack can react, she's already gone, melting back into the forest. The wolves howl in rage, circling their fallen kin. The alpha raises his muzzle to the wind and howls, long, furious, echoing through the canyon. The message is clear. This isn't over.
The clash. Hours later, twilight descends again. That dim, golden light between day and night when the wild truly comes alive. The cougar waits among the rocks near a frozen creek. The snow glows faintly in the fading sun. She's bleeding again, but her eyes burn with cold focus. Then she hears it, the crunch of paws, steady, deliberate. The pack returns. The alpha leads, his breath thick in the air. Behind him, 4 wolves fan out, surrounding the clearing. They have learned. No more chasing, no more surprise. Now it's a standoff. The cougar crouches, shoulders rolling with tension. The alpha growls low, the sound of stone grinding against stone. For a long, terrible moment, no one moves. Then the forest explodes into motion. The cougar charges first, a blur of muscle and fury. The alpha meets her head-on. Snow flies, claws slash, teeth sink. The other wolves dart in from the sides. One catches her leg, another goes for her neck. She twists, roaring, throwing them off with sheer strength. Her claws tear across the alpha's shoulder, a deep, brutal cut. He yelps, but doesn't fall. The pack regroups, circling again. Their formation tightens, moving like gears of a machine. She's breathing hard now, sides heaving, fur streaked with red. Still, she stands tall, unyielding, eyes locked on the wolves. The alpha lunges again. She meets him mid-air. They crash together, rolling across the snow in a flurry of white and crimson. The forest echoes with the sound of their struggle, raw, primal, ancient.
When the motion finally stops, both lie still for a moment, panting, eyes locked. The cougar rises first. The wolves hesitate. Her tail lashes once, a signal of dominance. Then she turns, limping, and disappears into the tree line. The pack does not follow. They stand in silence, their breath fogging the air, the snow beneath them stained with memory. The alpha watches her vanish, then turns back toward the mountains. There is no victory, no defeat, only survival. And in this frozen wilderness, survival is the only truth that matters. The wind returns. It whispers through the pines, carrying the scent of blood, frost, and something older, memory. The snow has covered most of the signs of battle, smoothing the scars of violence as though the land itself refuses to remember. The wilderness does not mourn. It simply moves on. High on a ridge, the cougar rests in the hollow of a rock ledge. Her body bears the marks of survival, torn fur, old scars, fresh wounds crusted by ice. But her eyes remain bright, steady, and aware. Every breath she draws is an act of defiance. She will heal. In time, her strength will return. When hunger calls again, she will hunt. Silent, patient, precise. Because that is what she was born to do. Far below, in the forest's frozen heart, the wolf pack moves together once more. Their pace is slow, their bodies lean, but their bond remains unbroken. The alpha limps slightly, the deep cut on his shoulder now hardened into a scar. Yet when he raises his head and howls, the sound is strong, unwavering, a voice that echoes through the valley like a vow. It is not a song of victory. It is a song of endurance, a declaration that the pack still stands.
The snow begins to fall again, soft and steady. Footprints fade. Blood darkens, then vanishes beneath the white. The cougar moves north. The wolves head south. Their paths will cross again, perhaps tomorrow, perhaps never. In the wild, time does not measure days, it measures balance. Predators do not hate, they survive. The cougar's solitude and the wolf's unity are not opposites. They are two sides of the same truth. Where one thrives, the other adapts. Where one falls, the other rises. And through that eternal push and pull, The wilderness endures, not in spite of the struggle, but because of it.
Epilogue: The balance of the wild. As the last light fades behind the mountains, the land returns to silence. The river freezes, the forest breathes. Somewhere in that vast, indifferent world, a cougar walks alone beneath the stars, and a wolf pack moves together beneath the same sky. They are enemies, rivals, survivors, and yet, in their own way, they are mirrors, reflections of nature's relentless truth. To live, one must fight. To endure, one must adapt. The wilderness is not cruel, it is simply honest, and in its honesty lies its beauty. Fade out. The sound of wind through pine and the distant echo of a wolf's howl dissolving into silence.